Okay. All right. I was thinking I'd start on time, but I guess not. Um, that's my fault. I was trying to make like a really cool thumbnail, but it'd be like that. Um, glasses, no glasses. Hey, what's good, Supreme? Yeah, no, glasses give off like a weird flare. I'm not gonna do that. No, no. I will wear this guy though. This thing that might be destroying my sinuses because it's covered in cosplay glue that may or may not be slowly killing me. Hey, what's good, HR Goes Vocal? How you doing, man? Let me share this guy out. How you guys living, man? It's been a crazy week. It's been like a really weird, eventful week. Both like in comics, as well as, well, mainly in like the movie realm though. But comics had some cool stuff this week. By some cool stuff, I really just mean 1 Minute War by Jeremy Adams. If you guys aren't checking out the current Flash book, man, I just don't know what to tell you. I like really just don't know what to tell you. Like the literally everything that a DC comic can be, and more. But yeah, I don't know. I have it like right here. What's good, Omega? All right, so I guess we're just gonna like not have any preamble. Let's just jump right into this discussing the DC movie stuff. Um, it's brave and bold. Oh, dude, yeah. Man, okay. I am weirdly, wickedly, kind of cautiously optimistic about that one in particular. Um, but let me like pull up like let me pull up like a article site so I can have all this stuff like in front of my face. Um, so I have like a reference to point to something when I'm like talking about stuff. Because I definitely do tend to zip, 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 like I'm doing right now. So let's see. I'll do the Hollywood Reporter. Hollywood Reporter is really fairly accurate for the most part. Oh God, so many ads. Go away. Go. Oh Jesus Christ. All right. This is what I get for not wanting to have my personal tabs in clear view. But we're going. We're going. We're going. All right. So I'm going to add you up here. I am curious though, if you guys just like go off in like the chat. What are your thoughts regarding the whole like James Gunn thing? He's been going off in interviews the past couple hours, really, because he announced everything yesterday. But just a slurry of interviews since then. Some of them, you know, really cool. Some of them very salty and kind of weird. And I'm not sure if like, you know, I don't know. Maybe I'm just projecting, but some of the interviews he's given make him come off a little salty about his time working at Marvel Studios. Maybe that's just kayfabe. I don't know. I really don't. But like, yeah. Let's see. Omega says Chris O'Donnell should be cast as Damien. I have a very particular set of skills. And I will use those skills to travel the globe, and I will find you. And I will make you dress up in a Tim Drake outfit while I drop you from the cliff of a cave while you fall miraculously onto Jason Todd costume shrine. It's actually really funny. I hated the hell out of Damien as a kid, but I really grew to appreciate what Morrison was doing with that character in later years. But I'll talk about that in a little bit. HR says, I'm not sure of James Gunn's plan. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of stuff in there that I think is really good. There's a lot of stuff in there that I understand some people's apprehension towards. Personally, I'm a James Gunn fan. Like, I like James Gunn. He is just a filmmaker that I really like, and a lot of his sensibilities just match up with mine personally. But I get some people not feeling James Gunn and his approach to the Marvel and DC universe respectively. Supreme says, once Gunn announces Damien will be the first live-action Robin in his universe, oh boy. Divisive reactions among Dick fans, Tim fans, and Damien fans, and Talia fans. Saucy drama! Yeah. So, okay, here's the thing. I don't mind Damien being the first Robin that we see on screen within this universe, because this is an established Batman, and the DC universe, as I understand it, as James Gunn is trying to, steer the ship, this is an established Batman. This is the Batman who's been Batman for like at least a decade and a half, because it's a soft rebooted universe. And I tend to really hate soft reboots. I've gone on about that many times before, especially when talking about DC. But if we're to take in that this Batman is kind of Ben Affleck's Batman, but not really, it's just in the same way that Ben's Batman was an established Batman, this is an established Batman. If you like Ben's Batman, well then this is totally Ben's Batman. If you didn't like Ben's Batman, well this is the new Batman. Who cares? This is Batman on screen. Whatever, go for it. If we're going off that logic, then if they show that, this is a universe where like Huntress and Oracle and Dick Grayson is Nightwing and the whole shebang. I think it could be really cool. I just hope they don't do the thing that the New 52 animated movies did, where they implied that Dick Grayson was Batman, Dick Grayson was Robin, and then Bruce just didn't have any Robins after that. That's where I have a problem. But if this is a universe where like Dick Grayson was Robin, Jason Todd, and then Tim Drake came in, was Robin, and unlike the comics, grew up and then did other things with his life. I'm fine with Damian being the new Robin. Um, because Peter Safran does talk a little bit about how he wants to explore the larger Bat family on film, which is something that we just haven't seen really since like Batman and Robin. Which I think I've said many times before. I don't hate that movie. Actually, I don't think I've said this on screen or on stream or whatever before. But yeah, no, I guess this is my first time saying this. I don't hate Batman and Robin. I think it is a fine comedy film. It is. The problem that I have with Batman and Robin is just inherently that it's a comedy film, but as a Batman adventure, I think it's fine. You know, I liked it a lot as a kid. And honestly, I would really like to see another movie like Batman and Robin, but instead of being billed as a comedy and written and directed as a comedy, it was taken like 100% like stone-faced. Just everything played straight and like done seriously. I wouldn't mind a Batman movie about Robin growing up and realizing he wants to be his own man, and Batgirl sort of like coming in to fill Robin's shoes a little bit. Kind of like what DC was doing with the Batman, Batgirl, and Robin dynamic throughout the Bronze Age, when Dick Grayson was going off to, get more serious about being a Titan, and Barbara was more or less filling in for Robin throughout the 70s up to the 80s. So yeah, no, I wouldn't mind another film like that. Just don't make it a comedy this time. Like, play it straight, and I'll be fine with that. But all right, let's jump right into some of these announcements. Now this is an older article report. This is from yesterday. And there's since been some information that's come out about the new slate and what James Gunn and Peter Safran are going to try to do. It still feels weird seeing James Gunn with white hair. I'm just not going to get used to that. I don't know what he's going for, cause he's not that gray, is he? That's all a dye job, right? I don't know. Maybe I'm just used to James Gunn having brown hair. It's weird. It's very weird, but no, whatever. I don't know the man personally. I'm just seeing him in pictures. But okay. Let's see. So the first real thing that they announced was Creature Commandos, and this is one that is surprising, but also not surprising in the least bit. It's surprising because this is not the movie that I would assume you'd kick off your new DC universe with. However, this being James Gunn, I totally see it. I totally see it. First of all, you have Weasel from the Suicide Squad in there, so naturally James Gunn has to have Peter Gunn in a lot of his movies. I don't know who this is. Is this supposed to be Tom Strong? That's the first thing that comes to my mind when I see this character, but I'm also not sure if DC has the rights to Tom Strong. It's a weird thing. It's very weird. There's a lot of pulp characters that DC has the rights to, but also doesn't have the rights to. It's weird. I don't know. But most of these other characters are from the not Seven Soldiers of Victory. Although Frankenstein and Lady Frankenstein are from Seven Soldiers of Victory. But these are all characters from what's that? It was the New 52 did a book called Frankenstein, Agent of not Smash. That's Hulk. Shade. I like that book. I think Jeff Lemire wrote that, which is why I liked it. I'm a big Jeff Lemire fan. But that was a very underrated title. I think the biggest problem that book faced was that it was one of 52 titles. It was one of the core problems with the New 52. Just too much too soon. And a lot of the wrong books, I think, got like a major marketing push. Frankenstein, Agent of Shade was unfortunately one of those books. It also didn't help that was a whole weird time where DC was trying to make Shield analogs for every corner of the DC universe. So you had Checkmate, which already existed, but then you had like it was Argus. They created Argus to be a new Shield, and Argus had a version of the Justice League that was like to counter the JLA, or actually no, their version of the Justice League was the JLA to counter the Justice League, just in case the Justice League went rogue. And Jeff Johns was doing a whole setup for Trinity War with that, which but yeah, no, this was a really good book. Again, totally up James Gunn's alley. All these like very weird, obscure heroes. Except Dr. Phosphorus, who's not a hero. That's a straight up bad guy. I don't know who this is. I'm gonna do a thing, and I'm gonna hedge my bet real quick. Let's see. I'm gonna say GI Robot. It's not GI Zombie. Oh, all right. Well, that's right. There is a GI Robot. I was just shitposting, but that. All right, weird. Bizarrely looks kind of like Junkyard Joe, or I guess Junkyard Joe looks kind of like GI Robot. I'm not sure if Jeff Johns was doing that when he went over to Image and made Junkyard Joe, but this could be pretty interesting. The biggest thing that really strikes me about this announcement is that this is gonna be like a mixed media type project. Where you're gonna have bits that are live action and bits that are also in different various forms of animation. The thing that immediately strikes me with this is Love, Death, and Robots. So imagine Love, Death, and Robots, but instead of it being an anthology, it's just one story straight through. I'm fascinated to see that. Again, it's a very weird thing to start your new universe with, but it's James Gunn, so like, of course he would start his universe like this. I'm actually curious now. Who owns the rights to Tom Strong? Oh, Tom Strong is owned by DC. Okay, so that might be Tom Strong. I don't know. Let's see. I'm going back to the chat real quick. I scrolled too aggressively. I keep doing that. Damian Wayne continues to be popular. Hey man, that's a train that's just not stopping, I guess. Grant Morrison's run, I keep saying this, at the rate we're going, it's a shitty thing to say, but at the rate we're going, Grant Morrison's run is like the last classic quintessential Batman run. It just kind of is. The only other thing that like comes remotely close is Scott Snyder's run with Greg Capullo. But even then, like, it's just the first part of that run, Court of the Owls. No one else remembers anything. People don't remember anything else from that run, except for 0 Years. 0 Years is really good, but it always kind of gets like overshadowed by year one, which I get, even though I think 0 years the superior origin for Batman. Omega says, I'm concerned about Gunn's take on Superman. It feels like him quoting Wikipedia and not actually knowing the character. Yeah, we're gonna get to that. We'll get to that after I talk about Waller right here. So, okay. Waller is, I get it. So apparently James Gunn is not going to, he's not wanting to reboot the entire DC universe because he likes a lot of those actors. Viola Davis is one of those actors you just want to keep. That's a no-brainer. But it's gonna be weird having her get a spin-off show. I mean, Waller's a cool character. Just like, do we really want to see like a whole series dedicated to Amanda Waller lobbying for like a more inflated budget for Task Force X, or lobbying to like go to war with Corto Maltese or something like that? Like, that's what I think of when I think of an Amanda Waller show. Like, I mean, that stuff could be interesting, you know. What was that show about the guy who it was a whole thing where there's a terrorist attack and every major figure in the executive branch died, and he became the new president of the United States. Like, it was called, I think it's called like executive, not designated survivor or executive survivor or something like that. I mean, you could do something like that, but I don't know. The big thing though that does give me a lot of good faith is Crystal Henry, who worked on the Watchmen series for HBO. That show was better than it had any right to be, frankly. As far as I'm concerned, fuck everything else DC was doing with Watchmen. It is that original graphic novel and that HBO series. Well, no, I take that back. I really like the Darwin Cook Before Watchmen miniseries. I thought that was great. A bit unnecessary, like all of Before Watchmen, but still really good. Actually, no, I take that back because I also like I also really enjoyed the Dr. Manhattan Before Watchmen miniseries. But okay, now let's get into Superman Legacy. So, okay, let me just read what they have here. So, the movie featuring the Man of Steel that Gunn is writing and may direct, keyword being may, because he's writing it, but I'm not sure who's directing it. I do have a director in mind who we might pick to direct it. It depends on if he says yes or no, though. While the two previous titles were meant to be aperitifs, in Safran's words, Superman is the true kickoff to the DCU's plans. This is not an origin story, Safran says. It focuses on Superman balancing his Kryptonian heritage with his human upbringing, like every Superman movie that we've gotten since 1978, but okay. He is the embodiment of truth, justice, and the American way. He is kindness in a world that thinks that kindness is old-fashioned. The release date is July 11th, 2025, although that's apparently like a working release date. Okay, so jumping off of what Omega said earlier, I'm a little concerned as well. Now, I'm a big fan of James Gunn. I think he's a great storyteller. my big worry with this film is that it winds up being a crowd pleasing nothing burger. That's my big fear with this movie. Creatively. Now, in terms of like the film's legacy and all that, look, I'm sure the movie's going to be good. I'm sure it will be a high quality film. Because as James Gunn has been saying in a lot of recent interviews, kind of throwing some mad shade at the Marvel Cinematic Universe as well as the previous DC films, if you want to call them that. He kind of like just went off and said superhero fatigue is not a thing. It's more like just shitty movie fatigue. Which, I mean, I can't argue with the man there. Inherently, I don't think superheroes are a genre. I think superheroes have kind of fit themselves into a genre because they keep following the same tired tropes. But superheroes themselves are like this like weird narrative tool that you can use to weave in and out of different genres. That's what superheroes are, I think. Dude, no, I just, I think, narratively, I think, you know, as a film, as a story, James Gunn's Superman's going to be a crowd-pleasing film. But it does kind of feel like it could just wind up being like a generic, you know, just another Superman movie, another Superman story, because at the end of the day, Superman and Superman 2 by Richard Donner, Superman Returns by Bryan Singer Bussy Swinger, Man of Steel, and by extension Batman v Superman and Justice League by Zack Snyder. When it comes to Superman's character arc in those films, they are all about Clark Kent trying to find a middle ground between his human heritage and his Kryptonian heritage, his biological heritage, and his nurture heritage. You know, the whole nature versus nurture concept. That's what every Superman story is about. It's the thing that I have with like Spider-Man movies at this point, man. Like, you notice how every Spider-Man film up to Amazing Spider-Man 2 is just the same movie, basically? Like, you can do so much with that character. Like, you can do so much with that character. I mean, granted, what they did with him afterwards in the MCU is not that character, but still, you can do so much with the character of Spider-Man, and then we just keep defaulting to the same exact, like, narrative tropes, the same exact themes, and that's like a thing that I'm kind of afraid of with this Superman movie. I was actually more excited when we didn't have this much information about it, you know, when it was just James Gunn talking about how he wanted to do a young Clark Kent story, and a story that kind of focused on Clark as a journalist. I was excited for that, you know. This is just like, hey, would you like to see Man of Steel, but with probably more like hint, hint, wink, wink, nudge, nudge, guys. Superman's gonna do the thing that he didn't do in those other movies. Zack Snyder. Like, I feel like that's just what the movie's gonna be. My gut feeling is that that's just what the movie's gonna be. It's gonna put butts in seats, and then Superman fans on like r/Superman are gonna be like, it's the greatest thing in the world. But I don't know. This is, from what we've heard so far, with this latest announcement, it just feels like more of the same stuff with Superman. I don't know. Oh, it's good, Adam. Uh, but I don't know. Potentially, it's really cool. As far as who might wind up directing it, I really think we're gonna see David Sandberg direct this movie. I have a strong gut feeling that David Sandberg is gonna direct this movie. Um, like I'm looking at all the trailers for Shazam: Fury of the Gods. Yeah, David Sandberg's gonna do this movie. yeah. This is gonna go to David Sandberg. But I don't know. James Gunn could wind up directing this. I have no idea. But yeah, I don't know. It's gonna be one of those things where I'm gonna want to see a trailer and some like set photos to really get a feel of how I'm gonna feel about this movie before it comes out. It's also like 2 years away, so like I don't know, man. Whatever. Really 2.5 years away. So yeah, we'll see when we get there. Now this is one that like really kind of got to me and like made me like tickle my pickles, scratching my match. Go like, oh, this is pretty good. Lanterns by so apparently this is still Greg Berlanti, so maybe. But in the video when James Gunn mentions that this is very much going to be True Detective meets Space Cops, I was hooked. True Detective is just like my favorite TV show of all time. Well, season 1 is my favorite TV show of all time. I haven't seen the other seasons, so I don't know if they're as bad or as good as everyone on the internet likes to say they are, but True Detective season 1 is like that's just my shit. And a Green Lantern TV show modeled after True Detective is that's fantastic to me. He did say it's gonna be terrestrial based. So that's like my one little like I'd rather see a big cosmic like space opera. But I don't know. We'll see what. There are a lot of different kinds of Green Lantern stories you can tell. You can definitely tell Green Lantern stories on Earth. I'm not opposed to that. So yeah, no, I'm fascinated. It's just this part right here, True Detective. Yes, God, yes. If you're gonna reference anything, like the magic words right there for me. Just imagine freaking Jon Stewart and Hal Jordan just flying around going like, you think that there's bad men out there? You think that we're bad men, Hal? And just Hal Jordan just calmly saying, of course there's bad men. Bad men keep the other bad men at the gate. Like, just dude, that'd be so dope. Oh man. Beware the Yellow King. Except this time, like, the Yellow King is just Parallax. Oh man, that'd be so dope. Alright, let's see. So, HR Goes Vocal says, I'm interested to see Brave and the Bold, Superman, Swamp Thing, Lanterns. The Authority should be in its own universe. I agree. And I would appreciate... Oh, sorry. And I would replace Supergirl with Wonder Woman. We're kind of at odds with that one, but you know, let's talk about the Authority first because it's like the next one on this list. Now I 100% agree with you that the Authority should not be set in the same universe as the main DC heroes. That's just a weird move, man. It's gonna be a movie, and that's gonna be interesting. It's just weird that you're going to have the premier parody of the Justice League, whose whole point is like kind of being the anti-Justice League, set in the same universe as the Justice League. Like, it doesn't make sense to me. Like, okay, I'm not sure how many of you guys have like read, you know, Stormwatch and the Authority and all that. Stormwatch is actually pretty boring. I'm sorry. A buddy of mine lent me a lot of his copies of Stormwatch. I read through more of them than I think I should have. I like Warren Ellis a lot as a writer. But Jesus Christ, that man, I can tell, is either a Stephen King fan or the time-displaced genetic spiritual descendant of Stephen King, because he writes like Stephen King in that he has wonderful grand ideas that all just fall horribly flat, like flatter than I don't know, the guy who wrote Emerald Twilight's Preference in Women. That's a pedophile joke, by the way, because he's a pedophile. I'm not sure if you knew that or not. That's why we're also that's also why you've never probably seen in your local comic book store or bookstore reprints of Emerald Dawn and Emerald Twilight and all those other classic Green Lantern stories. It's just, DC doesn't want to give money to Gerard Jones, and for good reason. But Authority is just weird, man. Just I can envision an Authority movie. I can envision a movie about the Authority. In some ways, we already kind of got it. It's called Man of Steel and BVS and Zack Snyder's Justice League. A little bit. But I can't help but feel like an in-universe, and I want to say in-universe, I mean like within the whole DCU, you know, cinematic shared experience kind of thing. I can't imagine that movie sticking to the narrative and thematic intent of the book. The best I can think of is this movie being basically to the Authority what Joss Whedon's Avengers is to Mark Miller and Brian Hitch's The Ultimates. You know, pull from, you know, panels, pull lines of dialogue, but just completely miss the point of what that book is saying. I don't know. This I'm gonna be honest with you guys. This is the one that I have no faith in. Like, I really don't. And I really like the Authority, you know. And we're gonna have to see who the director is, but just no, man. I'm not into it. To be fair, though, I'm also just not a fan of those characters existing in the DC universe inherently. Like, I don't like it in the comics at all. I mean, you know, I got this over here. I've got this. You know, I have Superman and the Authority. I thought it was a really cool prelude to the War World Saga by Philip Kennedy Johnson and Daniel Sampieri and Riccardo Federici. But it's just kind of funny because, like, the Authority in Superman and the Authority is basically just the Elite 2.0, which the Elite themselves is just Joe Kelly's parody of the Authority. So I don't know. We'll see how it comes out. We'll see how it comes out. But as far as the eye can see, I'm not feeling this. I'm with HR Goes Vocal on this one. I'm not down. 616 Man says soft reboots versus hard reboots versus retcons versus deboots. You just described the past 40 years of DC Comics publication history. Congratulations. Pre-established shared universe. Well, that's what I like. I kind of like, in theory, starting fresh with this new DC universe as just the DC universe. You know, you don't need to establish all these different things. Just this is the universe. These characters have existed there for God knows how long, and boom, story. HR Goes Vocal says, how would you plan out the DC EU? And this is a question for everyone. Yeah, how would you guys plan out the DC EU? I'm interested to see what you guys say there. I mean, that sounds like a video topic that I could do. But if I was making a DC universe, that's the weird thing, man. You kind of already saw kind of what I would have done if I was in charge. Like the Snyderverse, like trilogy, pentology, whatever you call it, that's not too far off from what I would have done. There were a lot of changes in there that I would have made. But for the most part, the Snyderverse is like more or less okay. If you put me in charge of the DC universe, divorced from everything that came before it, ignoring the Snyderverse, ignoring James Gunn, ignoring everything else, you would have probably seen what we got with with the Snyderverse. But with that material in mind, and with that history in mind, like me starting fresh right now, like I'm in James Gunn's shoes. Clean cut reboot. Imagine Darwin Cook's DC New Frontier, but set in a contemporary time. Now I know that's kind of weird because that book's all about the Cold War, as it was throughout the 20th century, but I mean a lot of those politics are still the same, and in a lot of ways the Cold War never really ended. So I think it would be very fascinating and fun to see the DC universe kind of unfurl in a cinematic lens under a very toxic, very heated 21st century geopolitical landscape. And you show a world where Superman and the rest of the Justice League started out as, say, the Justice Society, but then everyone just kind of went underground. They either started working for the government, or they just retired altogether, or they became like freedom fighters or terrorists or whatever the fuck, or mercenaries, and then you kind of like have a major threat like an existential threat that kind of brings everyone together, and you reunite the Justice League from there. Um, that would be my Justice League movie, to like lay the groundwork for everything that you would see in uh, a DC cinematic universe. And then from there, I'd jump into, you know, a Wonder Woman movie, and another Superman movie, a Teen Titans movie, you know, a Flash movie, you know, stuff like that. Maybe even a Champions of the Unknown movie, you know. I like some of those weird corners of the DC universe. But yeah, that's kind of what I would do. Omega says, "Damn, I'm tired of everyone making Batman the first superhero in the universe. Why can't it be Superman, who was actually the first?" Well, this is me pushing up my... Actually, I have glasses right here. I can do it. Well, actually, the Crimson Avenger was the first superhero in the DC universe. I actually shouldn't throw those. I need those to type for egregious amounts of time on my computer. I mean, I like the idea of Superman being the first superhero in the DC universe. But I also kind of like the idea of, you know, I like the idea of Superman maybe not being the first, but being the first one that is so OP god level powered that it freaks everyone the fuck out. I like that idea a lot. But yeah. Supreme says, "My hope is that we get Oracle, Cassandra Cain, and Stephanie, because those three got screwed by the New 52. Oh, you're telling me, man. You're telling me. I would love to see Steph X Tim in the new DCU, assuming they do more sidekick stuff, and you know, have a version of the Teen Titans existing in this universe. That'd be really cool. Although, for synergy's sake, you know that Tim Drake's not going to be dating Stephanie in the new DCU. If they have Tim and Steph introduced, he'd probably be dating Bernard or something, which I think is boring. I'm sorry. That Bernard's a really boring love interest. He just is. You know, we talked about the whole Warren Ellis thing earlier and how I think those books are boring. But I read way too much of them. I read way too much of the current Robin series, and just, it's so boring. It's boring. Divorcing my love and admiration of Tim Drake as a character, just putting all that to aside, it's just, I don't feel anything for that relationship. I don't, in the same way when you read Tim and Steph, or in the same way when you read a lot of 70s Spider-Man with Peter and MJ, you know, when you read some of the stuff throughout the 80s and early 90s with Superman and Lois Lane, you know, you get butterflies in your stomach when you're reading about those characters, right? You know, just like you get butterflies for as boring as some of these books are, the interactions between Midnighter and Apollo, there's a relationship there, you know? There's something there. With Tim and Bernard, there's just nothing. There's just nothing. I don't know. It's like Carly Cooper and Peter Parker, but on steroids, and they're both male. That was also a Nothing Burger relationship. Just, although that was a Nothing Burger because the entire time you're waiting for Pete and MJ to get back together, which they don't. And you're just kind of oh, what was the point of that? Yeah, I don't know. But yeah, those are my thoughts on the Authority. Just, as long as this means we're gonna get I guess, reprints of The Wildstorm, which was the latest Warren Ellis redux of what he tried to do with the Authority and make it more like sci-fi and grounded in reality, which I thought was pretty interesting. You know, whatever, man. I don't care. I don't give a shit. Paradise Lost, don't care. Could not care less. Don't care at all. All right, here's the big one. Brave and the Bold. I'm down. I am down bad. I am down incredibly bad. I don't think you guys realize. Actually, no. I'm pretty sure you do at this point because you've been watching my streams. But I'm still gonna say it for dramatic effect. I don't think you guys realize, just like in my bones, how much of an ache I've had to see a live-action Batman and Robin movie. Like, it's an incredible need that I had. I've been wanting to see a Batman and Robin movie on film really ever since Batman Begins came out. And it's one of those things where, like, we're finally getting it. You know, it's great. Like, I've been praying for, like, most of my life to see Batman and Robin in a live-action film. And, it's with Damian. So, well, hats off to you, Mr. Monkey's Paw. You clearly are doing a good job of fucking me over. So thank you for that. But, dude, I don't know. It's just, all right. Let me read the little blurb here. The Brave and the Bold. This is the introduction of the DCU Batman, says James Gunn, of Bruce Wayne, and it also introduces our favorite Robin, Damian Wayne. I agree at this point. Damian has become one of my favorite Robins, but I think for very different reasons. Gunn goes on to say that he's a little son of a bitch. The movie will take inspiration from the now classic Batman run by Grant Morrison that introduced Batman to a son that he never knew existed, a murderous tween raised by assassins. It's a very strange father and son story. Okay. So here's the thing. I like Damian Wayne a lot. Which is not a sentence I could have imagined myself saying 10 years ago, but here we are. But I like Damian Wayne a lot. That's a character who I've come to really, like, you know, I respect the idea behind Damian. You know, I think what Morrison was going for with the whole allegory of Damian being the child of the ultimate divorce, I think is very fascinating and very heartbreaking. By the time you get to the end of Batman Incorporated, where, you know, you have that whole thing where Bruce and Talia are fighting and Gotham City is destroyed and Damian gets caught in the middle and he dies. You know, there's a very it like resonated for me really hard. As I'm sure it resonated with a lot of people who are, you know, children of like, you know, separated families. It's a wonderful story. It's just a story that I think a lot of people who have tried to adapt Damian in external media have completely goes over the head. The thing I like about Damian, as far as Damian being Robin, is that Damian is baby Bruce. That's kind of the whole reason why Damian does not work as Bruce Wayne's Robin. Damian works as Dick's Robin. Damian is Dick's Robin. You know, Bat Dick is the Robin that should be paired with him. That was a weird way of saying that, but yeah, as you kind of see in Morrison's run, when Bruce Wayne eventually comes back from the dead, like, yeah, Damian and Bruce just don't work as Batman and Robin. That's just not a thing that works. It doesn't connect because they're too much alike. You know, there's nothing to play off of. And I just don't see... I don't see that story being told. And by that I mean, I think I've seen what we're probably going to see in live action, which is basically just Son of Batman, or I think that's what the new 52 animated movie was called. I think we're probably just going to see that on screen, which that movie was not good. Neither was Batman versus Robin. Like, all those new 52 Damian Wayne movies were just absolute trash. Just like, Jesus Christ, man. How do you make Grant Morrison and the beginning of Scott Snyder's runs on Batman, respectively, boring? What? So yeah, that's just my fear. I'm afraid that we're gonna get adaptations that are like more in that vein, and I'm just not interested in that inherently. But we gotta see more Grant Morrison's Batman run on screen, even though everything you like about Morrison's run won't be present. Yeah, let me go back to the chat real quick. 616 Man says, Zack Snyder's Batman and Robin, quote, this movie will make you believe child endangerment is a crime. Yeah. Although, to be fair, Robin was created in an era before child endangerment laws were a thing. Kids were just built different back then. Back then, you had, like, 7-year-olds in the coal mine working alongside 37-year-olds. Hey, man, it ain't nothing. If you can walk, you can work. That's just how things were back in the 1930s. Hey, what's good, Adam? How you doing, man? 616 Man says Tom Strong was in DC's New Age of Heroes in the 2010s. He was, but that doesn't mean anything. And I did look it up. You know, yeah, we did see that, like, DC does have the rights to that character. It's just weird. Supreme Omega says, on Jeff Johns, I reread Green Lantern Rebirth. It has not aged well. Johns turned Green Lantern into Michael Bay's Green Lantern, where Hal is an all-perfect, all-American hero who can do no wrong. Blech. Bleh, bleh, bleh. Well, I've never read Green Lantern Rebirth, so... But if you're saying it aged bad, then, I mean... For me, that's most of Jeff Johns' work. But then again, I'm like the quintessential Jeff Johns hater of the internet, so... Omega says, too bad no announcements of DC's new video games. So that's the weird thing about this, right? So James Gunn has said multiple times that he's going to have his DC universe like weave throughout every medium. You know, that's going to be the comics, the TV shows, the movies, but also video games. So, okay. TV shows and movies crossing over, that makes sense, right? Okay, that's a thing that's just, I get it, you know? In a lot of ways, they're like sister mediums, so cool. Comics tying into the movies is nothing new. That's always been a thing. In fact, sometimes you get comics that tie into movies that are better than the movies themselves, much like the current Flash tie-in comic to the upcoming movie. That book is like weirdly better than it has any right to be. But the video game part confuses me. Like, it really confuses me. Like, so what, are we gonna get like a Sergeant Rock dating sim that ties into a Final Crisis movie at some point? Like, what's happening? I don't get it. Like, gaming is like it's a medium that is so far removed from those other three. Really, those other two, but I'm making a slight exception for comics, because comics are versatile, or like so versatile in themselves, they can like kind of fit anywhere. But like, I'm not seeing how James Gunn is going to connect the video games to the movies in a way that is meaningful, or in a way that like works. I just don't see that. I don't see that happening. In fact, we saw earlier. Let me see if I can pull this up on Twitter. There was a game developer for the upcoming Suicide Squad game. Just lost his shit. Just completely was like, nope, that's dumb. Alright, so Dell at Naughty Dog. Oh, shut up. So Dell at Naughty Dog says James Gunn just stated that DC. Actually, I'm saying. Let me move this over. I'll move myself down here. James Gunn just stated that DC wants the films, games, and animation characters to be consistent and played by the same actors. I'll never work on a DC title again if that's upheld. You've lost your mind if you think a Hollywood actor can outdo Tara Strong, Charlie Quinn, or any voice actor. I agree with that 100%. This is a thing that I've seen, not just in video games, but mainly it happens in animation. These like major A-list dramatic actors getting roles as like voice actors. That's just, I get that you're trying to do this for like, putting butts in seats and name recognition and all that, but voice actors are voice actors for a reason, because their primary talent is acting with their voice, whereas actors don't do that. They act with their voice, definitely, but like those are two radically different techniques, acting and voice acting. And when it comes to like video games, this guy goes on, forever about it. But yeah, and like these writers and voice actors got to do like 100 versions of everything. They're in the booth doing 600 lines of dialogue. Yeah, it's extensive. So just, I don't know, man. I don't quite see how video games are going to tie into this. In fact, I really kind of hope they don't. I really kind of like the idea of superhero movies and superhero games being in their own worlds. Because one of the big things that superhero games kind of offer is an alternative if you don't like what the movies are up to or what the TV shows are up to. That's kind of one of the big reasons why I think Insomniac Spider-Man did so well and resonated with Spider-Man fans as much as it did. Because a lot of Spider-Man fans, myself included, weren't feeling what the MCU was doing with Spider-Man at the time. So Insomniac Spider-Man, Spider-Man PS4 and I guess Spider-Man PS5 by now, was the alternative. It was the thing that we were like, yes, this is what I want. That you can have your movies over there. We have Spider-Man here. Same thing for Batman. If you weren't a fan of what Nolan was doing with Batman in live action, and then later what Snyder was doing in live action with Batman, Well, you have the Arkham games, which was like for more or less, and for better or worse, basically Batman the Animated Series, but like rated R. You know, so like I don't know. That's where I think video games being divorced narratively from the movies comes in handy. But I don't know, man. I'm going to adopt a wait and see attitude on that. But for the time being, man, I'm just not. I'm not with it. I'm not with that concept at all. 616 Man says, adaptations in a nutshell, use the name values and reinvent everything else. Well, yeah, that's not every adaptation, but that is definitely most of them. Omega says, but aren't the major characterizations for Damian and Bruce's relationship coming from Peter J. Tomasi's run on Batman and Robin, not Grant Morrison's? Probably, but okay. I'll be honest here. I know a lot of people really like the Peter J. Tomasi run on Batman and Robin. I have not read it. It didn't seem interesting to me. You know. Actually, no, I take that back. I read the first arc with that thief guy, you know, whose daughter later goes off and becomes like potential love interest number 5 for Damian, but then that just never happens. Yeah, no, I didn't really read any of Wait, was the Hellbat armor stuff Tomasi's Batman and Robin? Were like almost immediately after Damian dies, Bruce just says, "Fuck it, I'm gonna go to hell and grab Damian's soul back." Where like Bruce Wayne is like dressed in that like Iron Man suit and he just beats up Calabac. I read that then, but yeah, I don't know. I don't think I read anything else. That sounds better than the idea of the show. What? Oh, when I was Waller, yeah. Supreme says on Talia fans, they're not a fan of Morrison's take on Talia, and also they're not a fan of the more villainous Talia that started with Hush, Rucka's death, and the Maidens. That was Rucka? Interesting. Rucka's death in the Maidens and Villains United. Thoughts? Well, I think everyone's entitled to their opinion. I do think it's very weird, though. I think it's a weird take, if you will, to prefer a female character who lacks agency over a female character who is akin to Lex Luthor or Blofeld or the Red Skull, even. You know, I like Talia's retcon for I like Grant Morrison's retcon for Talia. I thought Morrison gave that character dimension, you know, because Talia falls into the pitfall that I think a lot of Batman love interests fall into, where it's just fucking unlikable, dog. They're insufferable, and you just get tired of seeing them. And it's because their whole thing is Batman is the ideal man, right? So you have this this woman, this Jezebel. Someone call her a Jezebel Jet. Very subtle, Morrison. Very subtle. But but you have this female analog. I think it's called the Animus in the hero's journey. So you have the Animus presented for Bruce Wayne, who is basically Batman in like every regard except she's a chick and somehow evil. Except for Silver St. Cloud. Silver St. Cloud's not evil. And Vicky Vale. Vicky Vale's not evil. But like all the others are evil. And they're always trying to tempt Batman into being a bad guy or, or cross a line that he's just not comfortable crossing. And it just gets tiring. Don't it? It just gets real fucking tiring. Especially with Talia. Bruce is really into Talia. Talia's really into Bruce. But she's always, like, defaulting to being this, like, daddy's little princess who just goes along with whatever her psycho, brain-rotted, 5,000-year-old assassin father tells her to do. And it's just boring, man, Talia, she doesn't have any agency. She's like, hey, daddy, I want that brilliant master man over there. And Raish is like, oh, okay, Talia, well, then he has to cut off my head and then get you knocked up and then take my place as the demon's head. And Bruce is always like, yeah, no, that's weird. I'm not doing that. I'm not going to become a criminal. I'm not going to become the king of criminals. My whole thing is fighting criminals. What are you talking? No, I'm not doing that. And Talia's like, oh, but please, I'll bust it wide open. And Bruce is like, oh, yes, you can bust it wide open, but I'm still not going to kill your father and become a criminal. And then just Bruce and Raish fight, and then Raish dies, and Lazarus Pit stuff ensues. Rinse, wash, repeat. That is every Batman versus Ra's al Ghul with Talia in the middle story ever told. It's all of them. So when Morrison came along and said, hey, you know what? Talia, this woman is the daughter of the devil, or at the very least the closest thing that a human being can get to being the devil. She's probably not a good person either, isn't she? She's probably just as bad, if not maybe worse than her father, because she's a spoiled brat on top of being a trained assassin. So I don't know. I'm always perplexed when I come across people who hate the Talia retcon, because for me at least, Morrison gave Talia some agency. Granted, I'm reading some of the Superman City of Tomorrow material. Talia's actually kind of a tough cookie in some of those early 2000s Superman comics. So I don't even really think that was Morrison doing that retcon. I think that was just Morrison kind of building upon what was kind of in the flavor of what writers and artists and editors were doing with that character already. But I don't know. I like Evil Talia. I think Evil Talia is really cool. James Gunn has a fantastic beard. He does. It's kind of weird that it's all white, but it looks good. His wife made him do that. That's one of those weird decisions where it's just like, your wife made you do that. Like, I'm not sure if I started doing streams before or after I started, like, dating my girlfriend, but this, well, actually, I would keep the mustache, but, like, all this would be gone. I usually would shave all of this, but I keep it because my girlfriend likes it. Now, you're not going to see it in the next, like, 2 weeks, because I'm going to be at Katsucon, and I feel weird. I would feel very weird dressed up as Robin with a neck beard and like extensive facial hair. I wouldn't like that. But my girlfriend, I just don't shave because my girlfriend is like when I shave. So that's just one of those weird things where I'm looking at James Gunn going like, your wife made you do that. Yeah, your wife was like, you should dye your hair white. Because I don't think it looks hot. And then he's just like, all right, honey, sure. Oh, what's up, Tevye? How you doing, man? Let's see. Wow, they actually kept the Superman American way and nobody got salty? Oh, no, a lot of people got salty. Twitter was just a fucking endless salt mine this week. I don't have a problem with that line. Superman's American. Clark Kent grew up in fucking Kansas. Like, I know a lot of guys who are patriotic, who don't necessarily like or appreciate what the American government is doing, but they still are, I guess, like really into. Well, this is me being cynical, but I would call it the fallacy of, the American dream and what America is supposed to represent. But I know a lot of people who are into it, and I would assume that Superman is, if he was real, he'd be one of those guys. So I don't know. It's just a whole weird thing when it comes to like it's weird. It's a weird thing to get mad about. It's just a weird thing for people to get mad about. I don't care. Tevye asked, how do you feel about Superman Legacy? So you think this could be good? I think it will be at best. And this is just me being a James Gunn fanboy. At best, I think Superman Legacy will blow everyone's mind. At worst, I think I will walk out of the theater feeling incredibly bored, but appreciative that it will be a movie for people to like clap like baby seals and art. Superman's actually cool now. Art, and then give Warner Brothers the confidence in that character to finally greenlight a Superman video game. That's the worst possible option, you know. But the worst possible option is still probably like like really good as far as I'm concerned. Tevye says, personally, I would love a Superman family movie with Clark and Lois teaching their son Jonathan Kent self-control with his powers. I mean, if Henry Cavill was still Superman, I could see that. But James Gunn, my man's James Gunn just pulled out with the he whipped the haram card. My man said haram. The version of your character is no virgin. He's been touched by another creator's hands. Haram. I cannot do anything with you. I have to make my own character, my own version, my virgin version. That's not sullied by other creators' hands. I was just painfully racist right there, but I was, it'd be like that. I'm black. I can make those jokes. But I don't know. It could go either way. It could be really good, or it could just be painfully mediocre. Granted, we live in a world now where freaking like people lost their shit over Moon Knight and said it was the greatest show of all time, and that is terrible. So whatever, man. I don't know. People love the Flash TV show. That tells you everything about the general public's perception of these characters and what constitutes a good adaptation. Let's see. Alright, I scrolled too much and now I don't know where I'm at, so I'm just going to go back to the list. So next up here we have the Batman sequel. This is going to be called The Batman Part 2. Kind of a boring title, but you know, I get it. So this is gonna be cool. I think we're gonna have two different Batmen, and we're gonna have the dark and gritty, like something in my ass, I can't feel the feelings. We're gonna have that Batman over here for people who want that Batman, and we're gonna have real Batman over here. As far as I'm concerned, man, like I love Robert Pattinson's Batman. I love Matt Reeves' Batman. I love The Batman. I thought that was a really fun movie. But like, Jesus Christ, I am just getting real tired of. Do you want to see Batman? But if Batman existed in the real world? No, I don't. I want to see Batman in a flying Batmobile fighting Clayface. That's what I want to see. That's what I think is interesting. I want to see, Batman and Robin run tag team takedowns on Mr. Freeze's gang as Oracle's trying to hack Victor's suit. That's what I want to see. I want to see some like weird sci-fi fun shit with Batman, not more Nolan 2.0. So that's gonna be cool that we're gonna get some variety there, and I really like what Matt Reeves did, despite just calling it Nolan 2.0. But I'm excited to see what he does. It's probably gonna be like another neo-noir crime saga, as it's called here. They call it a crime saga, and that's going to be released on October 3rd, 2025. Oh, so interesting. Like, we're gonna get a Batman movie and a Superman movie in the same year. That went so well last time. And also, they're set in the same universe. Or I guess different universes, just like last time. You know what I just noticed? This is very funny. Kind of stupid. But it's the Batman. This is the Brave and the Bold. It's like the cartoon, The Batman, which was then followed up by Batman Brave and the Bold, the animated series. I doubt that was intentional, but it's funny. Supreme says, on Damian, Cass fans also have problems with Damian. I mean, Cass is Bruce's adopted daughter, yet Damian gets more love. Also, it's weird Dick and Steph's bond with Cass gets sidelined in favor of Damian. Well, that's because Cass and Damian are basically the same character. Not really, but like, from the outside looking in, if you're a comic book editor, you're basically gonna look like, alright, Asian child assassin who was raised by the League of Assassins, who then Batman takes in and teaches them to not be assassin anymore. How are these characters not the same? They're really not the same, but like, from an editor's perspective, they're the same thing. That's probably why Cass got sidelined. That, and also that tiny little wrinkle of her being the Black Bat during that like pre-New 52 era, despite the fact that DC didn't own the name to the Black Bat. Although I was sure that was a public domain name, but I guess I'm sure DC thought that too, but it's not. There is a domain over that name for like that old pulp hero who's basically just another version of the Shadow. Let's see. 616 Man says, The Slate. Typical superhero genre tropes, content, and unique multi-genre content featuring superhero characters. So far, Toby says, question, how do you feel about the Authority getting a movie? Because for me, I personally am not a fan of this team. that are complete jerks. Well, that's the thing. That's the thing I like about the Authority. I like the fact that okay. Well, I take that back, and I'm gonna fight you on this a little bit. They're not complete jerks. In fact, they're quite the opposite. The whole thing with the Authority is that a bunch of Stormwatch characters who are super soldiers who work for the government divorce themselves from Stormwatch and say, what if we just fix the world, you know, and we're gonna make the world a better place. And everyone in the United Nations, everyone in the world, all the governments are like, oh, we'll just okay. Hold on a second. What do you mean by fix the world? What do you mean by fix the world? I think it works very well. I think it's a really good satire. I think it's a really good parody of the Justice League. It's just it doesn't fit in the DC universe at all. Like, there shouldn't be an Authority and the Justice League coexist. I hate that concept so much. It annoys me to no end. I hate it, but at this point, I feel like it'd be the same as bitching about Shazam and Superman existing in the same universe. You know, I feel like that's what this is, just on a grander scale. Like, in the same way that Captain Marvel, Shazam, is basically just Magic Superman. When DC bought Fawcett Publications and then just had Captain Marvel and the Marvel family funneled into the DC universe. Yeah. So we got 2 Supermen now. We got 2 Supergirls. We got 2 Superboys. Just what? Just, you know, I feel like this is that, but you know, with you know the Authority and the Wildstorm characters. Same analogs, just, you know, they're the parody is now coexisting with the thing that they were making fun of. It's weird. Again, I think Grant Morrison does a pretty good job of playing with that idea in Superman and the Authority, but it's still weird to me. I don't like it. 616 Man says, the edgy superhero genre movie, The Authority, is what I'm excited for. I mean, me too. In an ideal world, I would have rather it be a part of that Black Label film universe, which James Gunn was talking about, along with Peter Safran. They were like, there's going to be the main DC universe stuff, then there's going to be Black Label stuff. That's where Batman, or I guess the Batman, that's where the Todd Phillips Joker material, that's where that stuff's going to be. Maybe the Swamp Thing movie too, but I don't know. Swamp Thing I could totally see existing in the DC universe, or I guess like a proper shared DC universe. Hal Jordan would be like, time is like a flat Green Lantern ring. You just have Jon Stewart like open his door and Carol Ferris just walks into his apartment and they just have like weird awkward sex for 2 minutes and Carol just leaves. Oh man, I am super excited for True Detective Green Lantern. You have no idea. I am so down. I am incredibly down for that. Oh man. Is that a down payment, Hal? What's that chick's name? It's Hal Jordan's like weirdly underage looking girlfriend from the Bronze Age, which no one had a problem with at the time because pedophilia was like socially acceptable in the 70s. Is her name like Anissa? I feel like her name's Anissa. Yeah, you have a bit where like Hal Jordan and and Jon Stewart go to like a brothel planet that's run by like Atrocitus or somebody. Hal Jordan gives like Anissa like here's 50 credits. Go do something in your life. Jon Stewart and Hal like go into orbit. John's like, was that a down payment? No, dude, I'm down. Nah, man, I'm with it. Hey, I'm with it. I am so down for a True Detective Green Lantern movie. You have no idea. Oh man, you have no idea. Between John and Hal, who would be Rust and who would be Marty? Oh, Rust is John. John is Rust straight up, and Hal is Marty. Oh yeah, no question. And I guess that makes like, Sinestro obviously the Yellow King. Tevi says, personally, I want Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart to go to space. Me too, but it's weird that they're pitching this as like a terrestrial Green Lantern movie. I guess like my obvious go-to, I don't want to say pitch, but like my obvious go-to theory, my fan theory, is that when James Gunn and Peter Safran were talking about how this movie is going to be set on Earth, and it's going to be John and Hal learning about this deep-seated evil that threatens the universe. It's probably going to be the not the Seed. Is it the Seed? The Center from Darwin Cook's New Frontier. I bet you it's going to be the Center from New Frontier. That's the malevolence that they're referring to. I'm not gonna put money on that. Actually, no, you know what I will put on that. I'll bet something. I'm gonna bet something like big too, something like really cool. That like I can't get my hands on anymore. You know what? I bet you, fuck, what's a cool thing to bet? Here we go. I have a signed copy of Final Crisis. Doug Monk signed it. I bet you this copy of Final Crisis, this hardcover, signed by Doug Monk, again, that the malevolent evil force that Hal Jordan and Jon Stewart are investigating is going to wind up being the Center from New Frontier. I bet you that's what's going to happen. If I lose that bet, you get that book and that signature. But highly doubt it. I highly doubt it. Let's see. Tevi says, question, why are we connecting the Authority in the main DC universe similar to the New 52? Because that sounds like a bad idea. Well, it is a bad idea, but DC's just been consistently trying to do that for the past, 15 years, so we're just gonna do that now. That just is what... They're in the same universe now. Yeah. It sucks, I think it's weird, but DC's gonna DC, I guess. 616 Man says Wildstorm universe used to be its own universe until nobody supported their books after multiple reboots. Went bankrupt and added and were consumed by the DC universe. Yeah. Michael Bay's Authority. So you're joking. You're joking. that's actually like not a bad idea. That really isn't a bad idea because that's what those books were like kind of designed for. You know, when Brian Hitch was doing The Authority, he had like that Roland Emmerich sense of scale, that Michael Bay sense of, you know, destruction porn when he went about drawing and like choreographing the set pieces and the fights and the displays for The Authority when he drew that with Warren Ellis writing it. So you say that as a joke, but like I'm dead ass. That would actually be like a perfect pairing. Like so perfect. Quentin Tarantino's Amanda Waller. I'm down. Who says the N-word, though? That's got to be a thing. Also, whose feet are we going to see throughout that movie? It'd be funny if, like, Obama came in as, like, a cameo for the Amanda Waller show. And Obama's the one who just drops N-bombs the entire time. Oh, man, I'd be down. I'd be so down. That'd be funny. The New 52, Spider-Man. You mean what they tried to do with Blue Beetle? And weirdly, Superman, too? The New 52 is Authority. No, James Gunn's not directing The Authority. We don't know who's directing The Authority. It's just it's just one of the movies that got announced. David Fincher's The Authority? No. If David Fincher was going to direct a superhero movie, I think he would direct a really good Martian Manhunter movie. I think Martian Manhunter by David Fincher could potentially be amazing. We'd never see it, but I think it'd be great. Zack Snyder's Ultimates. You mean Batman vs. Superman, Dawn of Justice? Omega says, hot take, Superman's heritage doesn't really matter because his cultural background is Earth. And physically having him with superpowers is also uncommon in Kryptonian society. Yeah, I agree. That's a very post-crisis take. That's a very John Byrne take. That's what I grew up with. That's how I see the character. But, you know, people just love... They love doing the whole, like... I'm an alien, but I'm a human. Which one is the real me? I don't know. It's all dumb. I feel like those are the stories that you tell with Supergirl. Because Supergirl was actually raised on Krypton, you know, as opposed to Superman, who just she's born there, but he spent like maybe like what 3-4 months there, you know, spent the rest of his time on Earth, you know. Actually, I will say there was a funny bit that I liked. It was an ongoing gag throughout the New 52. I really liked how whenever you had somebody from Krypton, you know, say people from the bottled city of Kandor or Supergirl or General Zod or what have you, whenever they meet Superman, the first thing that they would think is, you sound like you learned Kryptonian from like a textbook or something. Like, you don't actually sound like you know Kryptonian. Like you can tell he's not actually from Krypton. Like he doesn't have the dialect right, you know. I always thought that was a very interesting bit of like lore and world building. Hot take, Josh Trank's elite. I would actually watch that. You know, if Josh Trank didn't burn every bridge in Hollywood. Joss Whedon's Catwoman. That would be a movie. It would be a movie. Um, yeah, let's kind of get to the rest of these real quick. Booster Gold, an HBO Max series, based on a lesser known blah blah blah. This is the one that was obvious. You know what I talked about? You know how some of the James Gunn slate just seemed obvious. This was gonna happen. In fact, as soon as I saw that James Gunn was directing The Suicide Squad, and he was talking about how he wanted to do more within the DC universe, the first thing that popped in my mind was this nigga's gonna do. But this dude's gonna do Booster Gold and maybe Blue Beetle. I'm surprised he's not doing a Blue Beetle movie, or I guess a Blue and Gold, Blue Beetle Booster Gold movie. That's the world's finest that the world deserves and needs right now. Now here we have Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. So this is another one of those that like surprises me but also doesn't surprise me, but even in it not surprising me, it still surprises me. Like, James Gunn has been very vocal on Twitter about the DC Comics that he likes and is definitely pulling from for, everything he's going to try to do in the DC universe. I know that, or not just me, like we all know that Tom King is a major influence on James Gunn's upcoming DC material. We know that I guess the better way to say that is we know that James Gunn is a big fan of Tom King's work with the DC characters. I'm just hoping that Heroes in Crisis is not among those books that he's a fan of. But Supergirl, Woman of Tomorrow, Superman, what is it? Up in the Sky, what's that Adam Strange book? Strange Adventures, which is just Tom King's like CIA guilt, I guess. But like, yeah, no, like it's. We knew that if Supergirl was going to be introduced into the DCU, he would be definitely pulling from Woman of Tomorrow, but like just to straight up say he's going to adapt Woman of Tomorrow and like say that he's doing it himself. Like that's the implication. Yeah, that was what surprised me. And to like keep the name too, like just okay, interesting. Very interesting. But yeah, no, I like this. I also like that the new 52 Supergirl, or I guess like the new 52 version of Supergirl, who's just like the angry teenage girl who doesn't quite know her own strength yet. That's just kind of become the default for the character, which I think is cool. Supergirl is a character who I feel like she's one of those characters who is iconic just because she's been around for so long and she's been like grandmothered into the 21st century. But when you look at her iconography versus like the iconography of like her cousin Superman, Superman has iconic stories, Superman has iconic moments in his narrative history, both in comics as well as on film. Supergirl is iconic because she's Superman's cousin, I guess, and like died that one time in Crisis. But like, I don't know. Supergirl's not actually all that iconic. it's a thing where I think DC wants to think that she's iconic, but she's actually not all that iconic. But I do think the New 52 like did a really good job of like really giving Kara a characterization, you know, and I think I like what Tom King did with a Woman of Tomorrow, and I like how he just kind of like took what I can't remember the name of those writers, but they're the writers of Blade Runner 2049, which is just the most insane shit to me still. But he just took what the Blade Runner 2049 writers did with Supergirl in the New 52 and just made it more mainstream, I guess. And down here we have the Swamp Thing movie, which is a horror film, and interesting that I guess what they're calling this chapter Gods and Monsters. The I guess chapter 1 of the new DCU is sandwiched between two horror things, you know, a Swamp Thing film and a Seven Soldiers TV series. Well, actually, it's not Seven Soldiers. It's what do they call it? Creature Commandos. So wait, Tom Strong is a little bit of like Captain America going there. It's looking a little Rob Liefeld-y right there, but okay. Also interesting, they have like Dr. Phosphorus on this team. I'm sure I brought I'm sure I brought that up already, but just like weird. Like this character makes sense, this character makes sense, this character makes sense, this character makes sense, that character makes sense. Kind of character makes sense. This guy's just like a straight up supervillain. It's just like a straight up Superman villain just hanging out. All right, weird, but sure, whatever. But yeah, that's really it for like the slate that James Gunn has planned. So like yeah, no, I think it's like wait, all right, I can fix this. Hold on a second. All right. Let me fix this right now. I can fix this right now. There we go. All right. Boom, boom, boom. There we go. All right. So, as I was saying before I rudely interrupted myself, yeah, the slate seems interesting. There's a lot of stuff in there that just again it makes sense because it's James Gunn who's at the helm. And I know for some people that's maybe not their taste. But for me, that's just my sensibilities. I like James Gunn. James Gunn's one of my favorite directors, so I'm down. I will say there are two things that I think are potentially, maybe, definitely 100% working against this. And those things are one, superhero fatigue. And I guess that one is like couched in another couple things, but like superhero fatigue, and by extension, Marvel just kind of, as a brand, has dominated the superhero movie like discourse and perception. Like when people think of superhero movies, like that genre is synonymous with Marvel and Marvel Studios. Anything DC does is just going to feel like a tacked on, like, whoop, I'm here too, guys. Look at me, I also do superhero things. Yay, me too. Hashtag me too. So that's a potential, like, you know, danger. Also, just like, are these movies going to perform because of superhero fatigue? Um, Even if they're really good movies, um, even if they're really good TV shows, uh, like, like this is a 5-year plan, you know. Or I guess like 3-year plan or two. I don't fucking know. They announced 10 projects, and they said 2 projects are coming out every year. No, I said like, I don't know. It was some like kind of egregious number. But it's like, okay, we're gonna release like a movie and like a TV show a year. Like, at a certain point in time, keeping in mind Marvel's dominion over the superhero landscape, you know, because it just kind of is what it is. Will people just get burned out and not even care anymore? Like, will these projects make money? That's my big thing. Will people care about these projects? In theory, we live in a meritocracy, where people judge things based on the quality, but we in reality we don't. We don't. So I don't know. That's a major fear that I have. And I forgot what the second point that I was gonna make. In fact, I think that might have been my second point. I think it just like took my 2 points and just made them like 1 point. But yeah, that's like my big like major potential fear with DC on film maybe just not working out in the next couple years. But I know that the slate seems pretty cool. They're saying the right things again for me. The only thing that I just don't like is that authority pitch. I'm not interested in a version of the authority that takes place in the DC universe. I just don't like it. I just don't like it. And I don't know what to do about not liking it. I just don't like it. But that just kind of is what that is. Let's see. Tevye says, I would have the DC universe be already established with all the characters existing similar to Young Justice. And then boom, problem solved. Everyone wins. That's what I would do. You know, I think that's how you do it. Just like comics, you just jump people in. You know, you don't need foreplay or lube. That's what blood is for. 616 man. You're really pissing off Omega. Super Sons quote, "You'll believe sidekicks can be deconstruction." I don't know why, but that sounds like the tagline to like a Tom King Teen Titans book. Tevye says, wasn't the Snyderverse supposed to end with Justice League 3 and The Flash rebooting the universe? Yeah. So, like, weirdly, in theory, if Zack Snyder just got his way, we would have already rebooted the DC universe by this point, and people who wanted the Snyderverse would have been happy. So, again, DC's just been like a whole mishmash of just counterintuitive bullshit, and a lot of that is just reactionary leadership that just doesn't know how to just not do a bump of coke and then make a decision. Which is funny. That's kind of the thing that that James Gunn brings up too. Hold on, let me try to find the quote. He was talking specifically about the whole Henry Cavill situation. I saw it earlier. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. So here we go. Here's the one about the DC. Um, I guess his approach to the DC movies moving forward. Um, but where was the one? Um, okay. So this also comes from the Hollywood Reporter, but James Gunn basically said, as everyone here probably knows, the history of DC is pretty messed up. It was fucked up. No one was minding the mint. They were giving away IP like they were party favors at any creator who smiled at them. And then he adds, there's the Arrowverse, and there was the DCEU, which then split and became the Joss Whedon Justice League at one point, and then there was the Snyderverse. At another point, there's Superman and Lois. There's the Reeves verse for the Batman. There were all these different things, and even us. We came in and we did the Suicide Squad, and that became Peacemaker, and all of a sudden, Batmite's a real thing. And he starts talking about how like the whole like Henry Cavill kerfuffle was just a media nightmare, and he says, I like Henry. I think he's a great guy, but I think he's getting dicked around by a lot of people, including the former regime of this company. But this Superman, which is his Superman that he's working on for the Superman Legacy film, this Superman is not Henry for a number of reasons. So I mean, yeah, dude, like a lot of what James Gunn is doing is James Gunn is really trying to act as a custodian to the DC universe, but like kind of steer the ship in like his new direction, which I think is smart. He's doing a lot of smart things. He's saying a lot of smart things. The big thing that kind of struck me that I'm seeing a lot of people like freak out about and get really angry about is the whole recasting Henry Cavill situation, but not openly recasting other actors. But here's the thing. I think the reason the next Wonder Woman film that we're getting not being Gal Gadot is because she's gone. I think after Aquaman Lost Kingdom, Jason Momoa will no longer be Aquaman. I think we know he's going to be Lobo, so I think we're not going to see Momoa Aquaman ever again. I think Ezra Miller's The Flash. Those days are done. But the reason he's saying that we left the door open for these actors to come back, I think the reason he's saying that is because these actors still have movies that are coming out later this year, and they need to make money so that Warner Brothers can potentially still exist in the year 2024. So he's not trying to sabotage the movies that are coming out. But I think it's glaringly obvious that all those actors that were selected for those roles during the Snyderverse era, it's over. They're done. I think we're gonna get a new Wonder Woman after this Paradise Lost series. I think all the Amazons. I think the mascara is gonna look completely different. I think a complete overhaul. Complete reboot. I think that's coming. I think what we're going to be seeing in the coming years with DC, as far as James Gunn's vision is concerned, is a soft reboot. Like, yeah, it's gonna be implied that the Justice League exists, and that like, you know, maybe they fought Steppenwolf at some point, and that maybe the Justice League is a thing, and that Darkseid's a thing, and all of that. But like, mm-mm, mm-mm. They're all gonna be like new actors. They're all gonna be completely new. But it would just be really shitty PR to say that out the gate when these other movies haven't come out yet. Shazam! Fury of the Gods has not come out yet. Aquaman: Lost Kingdom has not come out yet. The Flash has not come out yet, and that is a big movie, big movie. When James Gunn says it's like one of the best superhero movies he's seen in his life, that I don't have a. That's cap. That is cap right there. But he wants that movie to make money. I do not envy the position that he's in. I really don't. But I think he's doing a really good job of managing the ship so far. 616 Man says, real take. Take the movie, but with the Black Lightning family. Oh, Taken the movie, but with the Black Lightning family. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Oh, dude, yeah, I'm down with that. Oh, man, I am so down. You have no idea. Oh, you have no idea. Supreme says, if I was in charge of the Batman stuff in a new cinematic universe, I would straight up adapt A Lonely Place of Dying as the first Batman film. To me, that's where the iconic post-crisis Bat family starts. Yeah, no, I agree. I can see that. I don't want Tom King Super Sons because that's a horrible idea. You don't want to have Damian Wayne and John Kent talking about how depressed they are and how they committed war crimes and like blew up a planet or something. I don't know. I agree, Tevia. I really want Jay Nakamura and Bernard to go away. 616 Man says, if somebody had balls in charge of DC, New 52, but a complete reboot starting from scratch without soft reboot leftovers. Well, that's why I still think to this day, the New 52 should have just been Earth 1. It should have just rebooted completely and just started with Earth 1. Edgar Wright's... Dude, Edgar Wright on a Legion of Superheroes thing would be, like, actually really cool. And I would actually probably give a shit about the Legion of Superheroes at that point. It's so unfair that Nightwing gets adapted over and over, but they still use Babs Batgirl. I wonder why adaptations are afraid of using Oracle. Is it due to the controversy surrounding the Killing Joke? I think it's a combination of that and Barbara is just the most well-recognized Batgirl. I think most of it hinges on the fact that the biggest pop culture touchstone that people can kind of like use as a reference point for Batman is Batman the Animated Series, and Barbara Gordon is Batgirl in that show. So for a lot of people, that's where Batgirl begins and ends. Because for a lot of people, that's where Batman begins and ends. So I think that's why you just don't see a lot of adaptations of Oracle. Heavy says, personally, I want Damian Wayne, Robin, and John Kent being introduced. That'd be cool, but like it's we're doing yet again young Superman and old man Batman. So Christopher Nolan's Batman and Robin quote. Okay, let's see where this goes. Successful at box office with film fans, but fails with the comic book fans because it's Batman and Robin in name only. Adaptation logic. Well, you just described the third act of The Dark Knight Returns, or Dark Knight Rises. Justice League International to showcase other characters. Have Batman as a cameo, aftermath of the JLA being disbanded. Then do solo films with characters such as Superman, Flash, Green Lantern, and NW. NW. Who's NW? I'm drawing a blank here. Superman, Flash, Green Lantern. Aquaman. Yeah, I don't know who NW is. But hold off on Batman. You know what's funny? That sounds kind of like the inverse of what Zack Snyder was gonna do with the DC universe. I think after BVS, we weren't going to have another Batman and Superman movie. We were just gonna have like Justice League movies as their story, while Flash, Cyborg, and Shazam and all those other characters did things in that universe. But I'm just stuck. Who is NW? Trying to think, like. Am I missing something? I don't know. Unless you're just messing with me. You know what? I'm actually surprised that we didn't get an announcement for Justice League International. I feel like that would have been like the obvious thing to expect from a James Gunn-led DC universe. Personally, I would have hated that because I don't like JLI. For the very same reason that Grant Morrison does not like JLI. Why would you have a Justice League book without the main Justice League members? So what the fuck? But that also probably is the mystery film that James Gunn was not spoiling because he said that the title is a spoiler. It's probably Justice League International. What about Justice League Dark Apocalypse War? I don't know what you mean by that, but I don't like it. Not my thing. Supreme Omega, also on Talia. She was never really evil in the 70s to the 90s. The sex was consensual, like in Mike Barr, Son of the Demon, and also Talia helped in JLA Tower of Babel. True, but like she also was the reason, like she did help Raish. Like she didn't tell him like, "Hey, Dad, maybe it's a step too far to throw a temper tantrum because a man who's like an idiot fed an endangered cat chocolate." No, Talia went along with it, so she's complacent, or I guess complicit. Um, Omega. Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow is a clear sign that Gunn and WB don't really know what to do with Super Family. 70 years of history, so let's adapt brand new things, which is another deconstruction. Um, see, I don't know. I don't know if that's not having a clear vision, or James Gunn just doesn't typically like Supergirl, but he really liked that book. Um, there's a weird thing of like, I don't know. You can throw that at a lot of different uh, realms of adaptation. Um, I think the main thing is that it's new and it's popular. Uh, just like in the same vein as the first Avengers movie being, for the most part, an adaptation of the Ultimates, which by that point in time was like fresh. It was 10 years old at that point. It was very new. So it was like the obvious, launch point for an Avengers film. Just like with Moon Knight, they were pulling very heavily from a lot of the Warren Ellis material. They butchered the hell out of it, but they were still pulling from Warren Ellis and Declan Shelby's run on Moon Knight. Why? Because it's the new big it's the big new thing. It's readily available. A lot of people know about it. A lot of people are talking about it, and it'll be easy to get more eyes on this book and this project. It's the same reason why like Earth One is like a big inspiration for Matt Reeves with the Batman, as well as Zero Year. Batman's been around for like 80 years. You could do so many different things with Batman, but they chose to adapt Zero Year. I think it being new is like the big signifier there. 616 Man, Scott Snyder's Wonder Woman, quote, a metalcore Amazon with attitude and Robin knockoff character. Debbie says, I love Jeff Johns' work, especially with Green Lantern. I mean, a lot of people like Jeff Johns. I don't not like Jeff Johns. Click like if you got that reference. But I don't know, like I don't hate Jeff Johns. It's just his whole thing is movie pitches as comic books. But when he goes to like adapt those movie pitches to like the actual medium of film, they're like generic and boring and dumb. So like I don't know. I don't want the DC games connecting to the movies either. DC presents the ever controversial Jeff Johns. When the white male Silver Age fanboy equals bad, it's cancel culture time. Yeah. Tevye says connecting the games to the movies is a bad idea, especially when hiring actors who aren't voice actors. Yeah, that's a big thing. And I've been seeing that a lot lately too. Granted, there are some of these people are actually really good. I think Karen Fukuhara does a really good job in Callisto Protocol. Wasn't Kevin Spacey in like one of the Call of Duty games? Oh man. Jesus Christ. Wow. That happened. That was funny. Frank Miller's Last of Us. Batman and Carrie Kelly. Well, Dark Knight Returns just is Last of Us. Also, that's the thing. I really think in a post Last of Us world, in a post God of War Ragnarok world, in a world where we've seen a lot of really gruff, like burly tough guys going on these like really like fucked up epic adventures with child ride-along characters, sidekicks, as some would say. I think now is the time to have a Batman and Robin movie. I don't know how you look at the Last of Us game and the TV show, and think, yeah, Batman and Robin's dumb. Like, I don't know how you play God of War Ragnarok and think to yourself, like, yeah, it's really cool seeing Kratos and Atreus perform, like, tag team moves on, like, the Aesir gods and take them down. But you know where I don't want to see that? With Batman and Robin. Like, just, I don't know. I think now is the perfect time to do a Batman and Robin movie, or a Batman and Robin video game. I just want to see more Batman and Robin content. I just want to see more Batman and Robin being a dynamic duo and stuff. But fuck me, right? It's whatever. Or like make a Flash movie with Kid Flash. Like, come on, man. Like the possibilities are endless. It's not like DC's at a dearth of fucking sidekicks or anything. Supreme Omega says, newer DC fans tend to forget this, but the reason why Tim was important is that he is the start of the modern Bat family. Without Tim, Bruce never recovers from the Killing Joke and death in the family. It's true. It's very true. Omega says, Superman dating Sim with 63 villains is the main girl. Tsundere Luthor, Lolly Darkseid. Oh, that's bad. That's hilarious. Gyaru Lobo. Oh, that like weirdly fits too. Oh, that weirdly fits. I love that. MILF Doomsday, Kudere Brainiac, Genki, Mixus Spitlick, and etc. You know what? Good sir, you deserve a pin. Your comment is now pinned. That was epic. Oh, that's so perfect. I love that. Tom King's Tim Drake, The Forgotten Robin Saga. Quote, you'll believe a forgotten legacy character can deconstruct. The Hellbat armor. Oh, that was Tomasi. Okay. HR Goes Vocal says, continuation of the last comment. Characters would talk about their places in life. Green Arrow would also get a film since he was part of the group. The last two films would be Wonder Woman and Batman. I can see that. If this is just me throwing shit out there. I can see not every character getting a movie, maybe this is where video games come in, and if you wanted to have everything be connected, guys, I've been playing Horizon Forbidden West with my girlfriend lately. Dog, I could totally see a Green Arrow game. I could totally see a Green Arrow game. Like, oh man. Like, if you don't want to make a Green Arrow movie, make it a video game, and you make it about, like, I don't know. Look, if DC is, like, adapting, like, newer material for their films, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't be adapting the Benjamin Percy and Otto Schmidt run on Green Arrow Rebirth. Like, this is, like just the perfect material to use as the basis for a Green Arrow story. You have this demonic bank, which is kind of like Spectre. They're called like Inferno. It's like a evil investment bank, and they run this like weird kind of like Epstein Island thing where they like kidnap and traffic like homeless children, and that's where you have like a Green Arrow meet up with Black Canary for the first time. Not really for the first time, but like Rebirth is a weird in between of like the old DC universe and like the New 52 universe. So they do some weird continuity stuff there. But you also have Emiko in here, and there's a whole thing where Emiko has a whole arc where she's trying to like patch up her relationship with her mother, Shadow, who I think they kind of by this point retconned the whole Shadow cheating on, or I guess Oliver cheating on Dino with Shadow. Or that wasn't really like cheating. That was more like rape. But that's just a thing that just DC. That didn't happen anymore. That didn't happen. What are you talking about? There's no rape. No rape or hurt. No hurt. I see nothing here. But yeah, no. I think Benjamin Percy's Rebirth Green Arrow would be the perfect. So make the perfect foundation for a Green Arrow video game. If you were to do a Green Arrow video game, which you should, because it's great. Horizon exists, man. It proves that you can make a Green Arrow game, but I don't know. That's just me. Greg Rucka's Superman. He's only focused on journalism versus corporate corruption rather than the superhero genre itself. You say that like it's a bad thing. I honestly would not mind a Greg Rucka Superman book. I think Greg Rucka would do an amazing job with Superman. As would Ed Brubaker. I could totally see an Ed Brubaker Superman book too. In fact, I think Ed Brubaker more fits what you're describing. I could see him begrudgingly going like, yeah, it's fucking Superman saves the cat out of the tree. But what's really interesting is these hedge fund guys that Clark is trying to take down is Clark Kent, and he's investigating, and then Superman has to do the thing, but then really you have and it's based on Ed Bankman-Fried, and then you have the crypto bros, and I'm weird, I'll admit that, but that sounds extremely interesting to me. I'd be down with that. I think a Ed Brubaker Superman run would be really cool and interesting. No one else would like it, but I would like it. The Hellbat armor also appeared in the Superman. That was in that was the first arc of Superman Rebirth when Lois used that. Supreme Omega says, I disagree. Oh, okay, interesting. I disagree. Because Talia had agency in Tower of Babel, and she joined LexCorp to take down Lex in the early 2000s. So you're not wrong. In fact, no, you are correct. You were very correct there. It's just when I say she lacks agency, what I'm really talking about is like when it comes to her father and Bruce in particular. that's really where she just kind of like falls flat as a character, for me. Um, Devin Grayson's Nightwing, destroyed by controversy. Uh, I would also add destroyed by not being a good run. Uh, Omega said, "I never understood what Bruce sees in Talia. She's hot, I guess, but every Batman love interest is that. So what about substance? Where's character depth? Look, man, when every woman that is approaching you is like a straight 10, there's only one kind of depth you're thinking of." 616 Man says, Grant Morrison, Mark Waid, Jeff Johns, Jim Lee, and Dan DiDio. The Silver Age fanboy mafia. Their mission statement: death to all legacy characters post Silver Age, including the Teen Titans. Yeah, that's what I think sucks about that generation of writers. Although I wouldn't really add Mark Waid in that. I think Mark Waid is less offensive in that regard. As is Grant Morrison. Those guys are at least willing to entertain the newer generation of characters. Like Mark Waid right now is like doing a really good job with Lazarus Planet and having a lot of the new legacy characters and new DC heroes, kind of get their time to shine. And Grant Morrison did the same thing throughout their stint at DC Comics. Like there's certain things in like just like standard Batman and Superman lore that they don't like, but they still work with. I'm like mainly thinking of billionaire Lex Luthor. That's something that both Grant Morrison and Mark Waid have been on record saying they don't like it. They much prefer mad scientist Lex Luthor, but if evil corrupt capitalist Lex Luthor is what pop culture's into, well then they'll do it, and they wind up doing what I think is like some of the best takes on those versions of characters which they're not a fan of inherently. So I don't know. I think it's I would not add Morrison and Mark Waid in that mix. Patty Jenkins, Captain Marvel, a Vietnam period piece with Carol Danvers. That actually sounds interesting though. On Super Sons, or I guess on Superman's Sons, should Christopher Kent get more love? Yes. But I'll let you finish. Because I love the idea of a son of Zod being adopted by Clark and Lois and then later becoming the new Nightwing. Wasted potential. Thoughts? Well, it was largely wasted because New 52 came along and just got rid of all of that continuity. But that just kind of is what that is. Also, I have no interest in a live-action Super Sons movie, just being honest. No, the Batman cartoon was way more entertaining than the Batman movie. Yeah, I mean, I like the Batman cartoon a lot. And for me, in a lot of ways, that is my ideal animated Batman. Yeah, that's like the closest thing I think we've ever gotten to like what I want from Batman in animation. Yeah. They do make some weird, interesting changes with other characters, like Joker and Penguin, and they don't have a version of Two-Face because the movies and all that. But a lot of the changes they made to some characters were largely driven by, well, just the simple fact that they were following up Batman the Animated Series, which was very iconic at the time. So, how do you compete? You don't. You just kind of, you don't compete. You just go in this other weird opposite direction, where we get like Rasta looking capoeira fighting Joker, you know. Dude, Adam Sandler would make a pretty good Booster Gold, not gonna lie. Oh, good night, Tevya. Alyssa. Oh, Alyssa. That's the name of Hal Jordan's underage lolly girlfriend. Okay, there we go. Yeah, almost forgot for a second. Gerard Jones didn't forget though. Uh, DC Elseworlds presents Titans Season 5. Zack Snyder's New 52 Teen Titans. Oh God. Oh God. I'm actually not opposed to a Zack Snyder Teen Titans. Just like New 52 Teen Titans in particular. Ugh, get that shit out of here. Oh, correction. Emerald Twilight wasn't done by Gerard Jones. That was Ron Mars. Oh, okay, that was Ron Mars. Got it. So was Emerald Twilight, which is still in print. But Jones did Emerald Dawn. Okay, yeah. He also did Mosaic. Which is why we've never seen Mosaic come back into print. Although I think Cully Hamner does the art in that, and that's like, I think some of Cully Hamner's best work, and such for, just the whole generation is just not going to be exposed to that because cheese pizza. On Jeff Loeb, he was the wrong guy to revive Kara for the modern age, because he wrote the first issues of the 2000 Supergirl solo, where Kara seduces Clark to almost having sex. Yep. That was a thing. I am happy that Jeff Loeb is at Marvel now, doing Marvel things with Marvel characters. Just leave the, yeah. Whew. Okay, that was an era. You just took me back there. Jesus. Yeah, James Gunn's Green Lantern does seem a little bit like Earth 1 Green Lantern, but as True Detective. It was very curious that they used specifically the Earth 1 Green Lantern artwork. It's a very... That's a choice. That right there is a choice. Jeff Johns' Superman is just the Donnerverse sequels, basically. Like it is, which is why I'm just not a fan of that era of Superman. If DC Zack Snyder stuff continued with the plan, rumors with the Atom, Green Lantern Corps, Cyborg, so it actually would have ended with Flash movie because it isn't planned as a trilogy. I don't know. Yeah. I know, but I do know that whole universe was supposed to end at some point. NW. Oh, Nightwing. Okay. Yeah, Nightwing's not typically a Justice League member. That just kind of confused me. Although DC's gonna try to make Nightwing a Justice League member now, so you know that'll be interesting. On Young Justice cartoons, this was the first adaptation where Tim, Steph, and Cass were together. Yet it's weird. They had no interaction. No Tim Steph romance. No Steph Cass friendship. Yeah, the later seasons of Young Justice were bizarre. They were like doing that weird thing where they were adapting a lot of 2000s material, but through a very like post New 52 lens, and I just not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. Also don't like that they just didn't have Cassandra be Batgirl. She was like orphan. I don't like that status quo. I don't like that name. Just have Cassandra be Batgirl. That's yeah. Nicolas Cage Green Arrow. Dude, I'd be down for that. It'd be the most bizarre thing you'd see in your life. Dude, what's that movie that Nicolas Cage did recently where he plays a trucker who bangs like a 16-year-old girl who's possessed with the soul of his dead wife. Just like, dude, I don't know what kind of movies Nicolas Cage's agent is like, hey man, he's here. This would be great. But Nick he keeps taking those roles. Read to me from memories. Oh man. Oh god. No. I have to make that meme. But I have to use the Supergirl making out with Superman panel. I'm gonna make that a Between Worlds reference. Oh man, that's great. Also an idea. This from Omega. Clark Kent reporter point and click adventure game in the style of the Telltale Batman. That could be interesting. Could also be incredibly boring. I know people love the Telltale Batman games, but I'm sorry, I was bored by them. Let's see. The Telltale Batman's quote, "You'll believe a new take can last multiple seasons." Yeah. It's a shame Devin Grayson sucked on Nightwing because she was so good on the early 2000s Gotham Knights series. Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, she actually wrote a really healthy Bruce and Steph interaction where Bruce isn't using Steph as a pawn. Yeah, which is very, very rare for early 2000s Batman, who is like needlessly a dick. The Batman cartoon is a brilliant modernization of Silver Age Batman. Oh, 100%. 100%. And a little bit of the Bronze Age stuff there too, with Wraith. the Batman cartoon. Not edgy enough for deconstruction fans. LOL. Yeah. Omega says, I say Jeff Loeb did wonders with Superman Batman, but it's the only run where both characters are equal and not Batman and his sidekick Superman. Well, that's the big thing that it has going for it for me. Although the current run on World's Finest is that, but like also not weird. In terms of like Jeff Loeb's just Jeff Loeb had some weird ideas for a lot of things. I don't know. I will say I recently did go back and reread the Batman Superman book by Jeff Loeb and Ed McGuinness. That book's really fun. Now that book is like really fun, man. Like I was watching Mark Miller's interview with Critical Drinker, which is it was a fun interview because I love hearing Mark Miller talk, but it was also very enlightening into everything that I kind of suspected with Critical Drinker, and that he doesn't actually know anything about comics or, you know, geek culture or this world at all. He's just a guy on the internet who says words, and people like him because he says the right inflammatory words. But Mark Miller was kind of going on about how like comics should be fun. You know, it's good to have like a political message and all that. It's good to, you know, have ideas and when you're telling stories, but most of all, comics should just be fun, man. And a lot of modern comics just aren't fun. I think that's changing right now. I think we're getting, you know, really fun books like, you know, Jeremy Adams' run on The Flash. I think we're getting really fun books like, you know, Dan Mora and Mark Waid's run on World's Finest. You know, as well as you know, I thought I think the current run on Batman by Chip Zdarsky is really fun. I think Action Comics is really fun. I think both Captain America books right now are really fun, but there's still a thing where you can just tell. I don't know, it's like it's a flavor. It's a flavor of seriousness, a flavor of self-seriousness, you know, a flavor of these characters are in movies now and we have to like treat them all seriously and blah blah blah. But dude, you just go back and like read that like Superman Batman World's Finest comic from like the early 2000s. That is just like unhinged comic book fun. Just like, what is happening right now? I don't know. I got no answers for you, but this shit is fun, ain't it? I don't know, man. I think that is missing from a lot of comics right now. You see hints of it, but I don't think we're quite there yet. I think we're getting there, but I don't think we're there yet. James Mangold's Swamp Thing. Screw the comics. It's the edgy, dark and gritty realism adaptation in name only, bro. I don't know. I don't think James Mangold would do Swamp Thing like that, or maybe he would. I don't know. You know what? As soon as you brought that up, I could totally see James Mangold directing that Brave and the Bold movie. I could totally see Brave and the Bold being directed by James Mangold. On Red Hood, another reason why Red Hood doesn't work as a character is because Huntress is the better version of Red Hood. Yeah. Them's facts. Them's hard facts. Helena Bertinelli is just a walking W, while Jason is a walking capital, like, up the asshole L. CW's Red Hood. You will believe Jason Todd can cry. Omega says, things I want but will never see. Connor Kent, Cassandra Cain romantic superhero movie. Man, can you imagine a remake of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, but with Connor Kent as Superboy and Cassandra Cain as Batgirl? Well, it's not like a remake of Guess Who's Coming to Dinner, because that's different. But like a romantic comedy, teen drama movie, heavily inspired by Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. That'd be funny. That'd be so good. I would love that. That would be an absolute delight. But because it's such a good idea, we're never gonna see it. Because the world does not run off good ideas. The superhero genre being the superhero genre is fun. Well, ideally, yes. Omega says comics should be creative first, political later, because many writers don't crap about politics. That's why most of their takes are so lame. Well, yeah, I agree. The really shitty thing, though, like the really shitty reality, is that right now, in a post-Twitter age, a post-hot take age, where merit is derived from having good takes, or being the most intellectually formidable or astute, and that gets you like brownie points on the internet or whatever the fuck that's worth. People feel the need to have interesting politics, and by interesting politics I mean the right politics, again in air quotes. But that's where a lot of the like really kind of like vapid political bullshit comes into play in comics. It's not something that's just limited to comics. It's just a thing that's in Western culture right now, because the internet is evil and driven by the anti-lab equation, and we can't have nice things as a result. John Carpenter's Mephisto, the 1980s Thing reboot with a superhero. Yeah, I'm down. I'm down with that. I am. Sign me the fuck up. Whoo! All right, we're going on like damn near 3 hours here. Hey guys, yo. Thank you very much for coming by. I love talking about this with y'all. I love talking comics and comic movies with y'all, but I got to go. I'm tired. I have to sleep. I do have a doctor's appointment in the morning. Omega, just you deleted your message. But take care, man. Donkey Kong but King Kong. Yeah, that'd be funny. Every character is voiced by video game Donkey. Yeah, that'd be really cool. But alright guys, thank y'all very much, and yeah, you'll tell next time. Alright, well, until we get to next time, thank you guys for watching. Like the stream if you haven't liked it already, and thanks for watching. As always, until next time, adios nachos, adios.